Huge blow to N. Srinivasan, BCCI chief. Supreme Court today, in its observation in the hearing for the on the Mukkal Mudgal panel committee report, saying that N. Srinivasan needs to go. As simple as that. We will move forward on a fair and free probe once that happens. 2 days have been given to the BCCI chief to come back with his decision. If he does not step down from his position as the president, then the court in all likelihood will pass an order which will be binding on the BCCI. It has come to this because N. Srinivasan has been brazening it out for a year. Former Mumbai captain Shishir Hattangadi joining us live on the show. Also my colleague Rasesh Mandani and Srisha Reddy keeping tab of all the developments in Mumbai and Chennai respectively. Shishir, we were talking about just how big a statement this is on Indian cricket and the way it is run. Are you hopeful that this is the beginning of the cleanup of cricket?
Very good question, really. I'm not sure if I have the answer to that, really. I mean, I'm not sure because, you know, it took somebody from within the system, and I keep repeating myself on this, it took somebody from within the system to take this matter up. Which tells you that, you know, if all things are bright and beautiful within the system, nobody will know what is happening within the system, you know. And that to me has been the biggest revelation of this whole episode of the Supreme Court stepping in. My worry is, and it's always been, that, you know, while I must confess that Srinivasan and have done a lot of good for the players, you know, given them good packages and giving them good retirement benefits, I want to see at this stage how many people put their hand up and support Mr. Srinivasan, or are they going to desert the ship that they seem is now sinking from a Supreme Court perspective. That is going to be crucial, and that's the way the BCCI has been run. The moment they see the ship sinking, people run away. They don't stand by people who have helped them, and this could be another case of you know, the old order changing, yielding place to new. To answer your question, I'm not sure if it's going to work in terms of cleaning up the system, because what will happen later is something we've seen in the past, you know, or somebody coming in and the systems being the same. So I'm not very sure about that. What it has done in a sense is it's brought this into public domain. It's given an opportunity for the people who made this game so popular to now start thinking and asking questions. And I'm just another person who loves the game. I love the BCCI because it's done a lot for the game. But today I'm starting to think that, is this what we have been following? Is this the real cricket that we've been following? Because we are not inside the corridors of power to understand how the system works, what are the compromises made. Right. Today you're asking serious questions of the game of cricket, of the system, and that's somebody who's played the game at a much lower level, but somebody like me is asking those questions. So I'm sure there are people out there, somewhere in their ticker there would be a question asked, and they need to answer it.
Yes, so you're saying this is not really about standing with right or wrong. It's about standing with whatever benefits you more. That's an interesting point that Shishir is making. Let's also listen to former BCCI President A.C. Muthaiya and former Indian cricketer Kirti Azad on the observations today.
It's a great pronouncement by the learned judges. They're absolutely right, and I feel vindicated. Dr. Muthaiya, Srinivasan has no choice. He has to step down, and the court should appoint a committee of former presidents who can have a fair probe into the whole Mudgal report and take immediate action on what is to be done. I think it's a wonderful, really a great judgment. It's a great thing for the Indian cricket. And the root cause of all this is the conflict of interest. Now you're at the helm of affairs, and you're running a franchise, which is absolutely wrong. This was introduced by the ICC, the International Cricket Council, when I was a member of ICC. After all the scandals which happened, now I wonder what ICC will do.
Yeah.
Are they going to ask him to be the chairman of ICC?
I would like to say better late than never. I sat on a dharna which you covered extensively on your channel live when I was sitting outside Firozshah Kotla and talking about accountability, responsibility to be fixed and transparency to be there. So I'm very happy that has come out, better late than never. And I hope a few of them, including politicians, go to jail. I'm happy that the Supreme Court has taken this decision once and for all. I hope this corruption in cricket finishes. I don't go and hide behind anything. I speak as a sportsman who won the World Cup for India in 1983, and the kind of corruption has taken place. If you remember when I had raised this issue of match fixing in 99 in Parliament, the board had come up with a 13-point agenda and they said that these are the things they're going to do. Nothing happened till 2008 when the IPL came up.
Shishir Hattangadi is still with us. Shishir, the question that many are asking now is what happens at the upcoming season of the IPL? You know, the action on the two teams involved has not yet been taken. Maybe it will be taken 2 days from now. But shouldn't the BCCI, to seem at least being proactive, put a hold on the season coming up? That's the sentiment we're getting from fans as well. How can the action go on when there could be names of these players in the sealed envelope?
Shivani, you know, the first thing that hit you was when the process and, you know, the courts adjourned it to today. That is when the BCCI announced, the IPL announced the venues. In a sense, in a surrogate way, what it did was it showed lack of respect for what was happening in the courts. What they should have done was announced, and this is where I believe that communication is important. They should have said that we will come to issues like venues and, you know, change of venues once the court gives us their verdict and their observation. Instead, they went ahead pretty much, I thought in a very arrogant way, of announcing that the venues would be in UAE, in Abu Dhabi, the first half would be in the Gulf. Surprisingly in Sharjah, where, you know, we have had a history of cricket being played not in the cricketing way, if I might add. So it showed scant respect for what was happening in the Supreme Courts. They should have waited. They should have announced that, you know, we will wait for the courts to decide to make their observation, and then we will chalk out a plan, and that would have been showing respect for, you know, the system for the courts. They didn't do it. Today what you have is a situation, if tomorrow the Supreme Court says that, you know, these two teams need to be banned, then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
You know, the ball is really in your court now, and you know what, it's going to put everything in a mess. It's a good idea actually at this stage to say, look, let's take a back seat, let's not hold the IPL till, and the BCCI should do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong in doing it, because it will show that there is intent from within the system to clean up and to make sure that they get on to the right track.
Right.
I think that's a great idea and a great way of doing it. Whether they'll do it is a call that the gentleman sitting in those corridors or in the ivory towers should take a decision. It's not one person, it's collective decision making that will take the game forward, and I believe they can do it.
They should do it, really. It will be a smart move on their part. Sure, it will be a costly move. Sure, it will put certain futures in jeopardy, or at least on, you know, on hold for a year. But really, for the larger good, one season of the IPL being put on hold is not too big a price to pay. Let's also listen in to what Rajiv Shukla, the former chairman of the IPL, had to say.
सर वही सर इतना ही लाइन सर पूछ लो हुआ क्या इतना ही दे दीजिए ना
इतना ही कह दीजिए ना कोर्ट का
सुनो
इतना ही कह दीजिए ना कोर्ट